8:34. Happy Monday to you. Lance Fenderson joins us right now. LanceFendersonRacing.com. Always been fascinated with racing. Love the idea of racing, going fast. Yep. Rubbin's racing last night at Richmond. Great ending to the show there. But somebody who actually is a real racer. Because that's the thing. We can talk about it at the table.
We talk about it all the time. Yeah.
All the time. But we don't actually race. Lance, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. What are you currently racing right now? Tell us what you're doing in the race scene right now.
Yeah, so currently I'm driving an M240 IR, which is a BMW factory-built race car. I'm not currently racing. I'm getting back into it. I'm testing. So I'm getting my bearings together and seeing what I'm capable of. And I've been proving to myself and other people that I'm truly capable of accomplishing some cool things. So
because growing up I watched Fast and Furious. You ever seen Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
Okay, so when the bubble comes around, you know what I mean, when you're hitting that quarter mile, right? But in your case, you're going probably farther than a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Is that what happens like to you on the line? Like, is that real feeling and what that's like?
Somewhat. You get really locked in. Like the whole world starts going slow, and all you got to focus on is like what's happening in the moment. So it is interesting. I don't see the bubble necessarily, but you're kind of in your own bubble, I guess.
Absolutely. Lance, for those that may not know, would you mind sharing kind of your story and your life and how you got to be where you are today?
Yeah, so I grew up in Rye, New Hampshire, right on the coastline of New Hampshire. When I was 5 years old, I went to a wedding, my aunt's wedding out in California, and my dad dragged me to a go-kart track. And I was just kind of like, let me watch, let me escape the wedding environment of the adults and whatnot. And I fell in love. It was just like, Dad, this is what I want to do. I want to try this, like in 5-year-old me's voice, right? And I guess he said, all right, like, and went and grabbed a go-kart when we got back. And so I started driving, getting into it, and I think I fell in love with it pretty quickly. So that carried on since the age of 5. I raced go-karts until I was about 14. Just moving up through the ranks, won tons of races all across the country, from California to Arizona, Wisconsin, like everywhere.
This was in karts. This was kart racing.
Yeah,
just strictly go-kart
How
racing.
fast them karts go? How fast can they go?
By the time I was like 14, you're getting up to around like 65.
Wow.
Shoot.
And a
pretty
go-kart?
quick.
That's fast. Yeah, that's no, I've been to the pit. Is that what it is in Mooresville? Yeah, going
It's a
30
little
feels fast.
different.
Yeah, it feels fast there. So yeah, I can imagine going 60.
Yeah. So yeah, I raced go-karts up until about 14. Like I said, tons of wins, tons of national championships, and just like made a name for myself. Then when I was 14, started racing cars. So got into some open wheel stuff, F1600, and some sports car stuff, Mazda Miatas, and that was kind of my entry level that I got into.
Miatas were hot back. Bill, you remember that in the parking lot of high school? Miatas were hot back in the day. Hot.
And they're really good racing. It's really fun to race. It's like some of the best race. You can ask anybody. Like, as you can ask people that are in IndyCar and ran Miatas. They'll tell you the same thing. Like, it's just wheel-to-wheel action from the drop of the green flag till the checkered. Like, Rubbin is racing like you were saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good racing. You got 6-7 guys that are pushing around trying to win that race. It's like really good racing.
Yeah. So
did that until I was 17. When I was 17, my life changed forever. Everybody thought it would have been racing, but in a high school lacrosse game, I broke my neck and was paralyzed from the chest down, leaving me quadriplegic, complete injuries. So most people will tell you with a complete injury, which means your spinal cord is severed, that you won't have any sort of recovery. You'll go through your rehabilitation and get used to living this life that's now going to be the foreseeable future, but you don't necessarily regain function. And so this happened in a high school lacrosse game at 17 years old, up in Asheville. And I was in the hospital there for, I believe, like about 2 weeks. I don't remember any of it. I was all drugged up. And then I was transported to Atlanta to what's known as Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And I was there for about 5 months on a ventilator, You can still see my trach scar, feeding tube. Had to relearn how to talk, had to relearn how to eat, relearn how to breathe. It's insane. And relearn the things that nobody even sees on the outside. You don't see like, okay, he can't walk, legs don't work, right? That's what everybody sees. That's what you think of, and then you move on, right? But there's just so much more to it that happens behind the scenes that takes an entire army of people. So yeah, lots of challenges come with it.
Yeah.
Lots of challenges that nobody really realizes. But I think once you go through the recovery process, and that's physical and mental, of relearning that you're a new person, and you have different capabilities than you had before, and in a way, this injury is what makes you unique and what almost acts as your superpower. Gives you a lot of ability that you didn't have beforehand. And so I've been trying to really capture that within me and express that. And it took me a long time to overcome it, like mentally, and realizing that like I still have the ability to chase my dreams. But recently, back in February, I got back into a race car, which was
Very
awesome.
cool. Yeah, very cool.
See that, but the bubble came up then at that
Yeah.
moment when you
Right?
got back in there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Very
what are you
cool.
doing then today? You're driving a BMW now? Is that right?
Yep, currently driving a BMW. I have a membership up at Virginia International Raceway, which is in Danville, about 2.5 hours from here. And so I go there about once a month for like 2 to 3 days at a time, running test days. And the very first time I got back on track in February, and huge shout out to my mom and dad who've made this possible for me, and given me the opportunity to really do what I love again and chase my dreams. Got that race car for me and gave me the opportunity. February, got back out on track, and I was running like high 220s for lap times.
Wow.
And I was scared. I was terrified. I was like, what am I doing? This is insane.
Don't you kind of have to? You've probably always had that, though,
Yeah.
right? That's probably what you have to
Did
have.
it feel natural to get back in a car for you after racing go-karts? Did you feel like, or it just felt, did
Right
it feel
away?
completely foreign to you, I guess?
Right away, no.
No, not
It
right
was,
away.
and I actually have the same like hand control system. So push forward with my left hand for brake, pull back for gas, and I don't have great hand function. So I have like a tri-pin that goes on my right hand for steering, so I can steer with one hand. And my dad's actually, or many people, but primarily my dad has been riding in the right seat, shifting the car.
Okay.
So we have like a sequential. It's
Yeah.
the BMW,
Mhm.
like push for downshift, pull back for upshift. So it's a circus in that car. But yeah, and at first it was really foreign. It was like this is terrifying. Like it's one
Mhm.
thing to drive on the road and my pickup truck
Mhm.
driving like that, and you're going 40, 50, whatever. When you're going 145 miles an hour, 150, and it's cresting hills, like feeling the G forces on your body while trying to do this, it's a whole nother feeling. I wasn't prepared for that.
Yeah, but you now you've done it, right? You've gotten back in the car. You've
Yeah.
accomplished. You're doing it, right? So like now you've got to think of it. Okay, it's not just getting back in the car anymore. You got to keep going, I would imagine. So where what are you wanting to do? You want to? You also work, because that's the thing, is you can't just be in racing
And you're in
BMWs.
school, too?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah.
on? Like, what's the rest of the life like right now?
Yeah, it's crazy. So I'm graduating from NC State. That was one of the-
Congratulations.
Thank you. In December with a mechanical engineering degree. When I was first injured,
So he's smart.
Yeah, super smart.
and I didn't think that racing was a possibility at first. I decided like I need to focus on my education, and that was my challenge that I was willing to tackle. So I went to state, and I was able to pull it together. So I have 3 classes left, finished in December, and then yeah, I am working. I just finished a summer internship up at Kozlowski Advanced Manufacturing in Statesville.
Shout out to those guys. Nice.
Yeah,
That's
shout out to
awesome.
those guys. So that's what's going on outside of the racing. But over the last 6 months, I've really developed my racing and gotten back into it and realized what I'm capable of. And I've gotten down to times where I'm like actually pushing for track records and like against everybody
Get 'em,
else,
baby. Get 'em,
every
baby.
single like
Yeah.
fully capable, able-bodied
Yeah.
human, I'm like getting out there and showing them what I'm capable of. So, yeah, in the near future, I'm hoping 2025, I'm gonna have a Porsche Sprint Challenge GT4 ride.
Oh,
Nice.
get him with the Porsche now.
Yeah, and I've
Okay.
got a couple big people behind me, such as Mobile One in Yokohama, that have
LanceFendersonRacing.com.
given me some confidence.
LanceFendersonRacing.com. Lance, we appreciate you,
Thank
brother.
you,
Yeah,
Lance.
absolutely, guys. Thank you for having me.
LKN with Justin, Bill, and Mamie is on the way.